What's up, guys? It's Rowan here from Artismart TV. And with the HSC, English is compulsory. And if you're more of a maths and science person, that can be the two worst things possible in a single sentence: English and compulsory. And so what we're going to be looking at in this video today is we're going to be chatting with Kieran, a student who really didn't like English and who certainly would describe himself much more as a maths person. And at the same time, we're going to look at, okay, how did Kieran manage to, despite not enjoying English and being much more of a maths person, manage to turn a 60% result in HSC English in the first assessment of Year 12 around to end up scoring an 81% result, which was a 21% improvement. And what we're going to look at is two really key things here. One, how do you actually, bounce back when you're not doing so well in English generally? And then secondly, how do you do that if you already really dislike English and you're not super motivated? So welcome, Kieran.
Hi.
So now English was definitely not your favorite subject.
No.
What was your favorite subject?
Probably 3 maths.
Cool, so definitely a math person then.
Yeah.
So English being compulsory probably was a little painful then.
Yeah, I really did not like the idea of compulsory English.
So then a question then, why did you not like English? What was it about English that just was not for you?
Honestly, it was just a lot of work and a lot of writing, and I don't like writing and just thinking like off the top of my head, like being creative, anything like that is just not good for me.
So you need something more logical and structured, and this English thing was just...
I needed something to like tell me what to do and how to do it more than like do it this way, but not like that, and sort of do your own thing. Like I don't like doing my own thing.
So it was, I guess, too subjective by the sound of it.
Yes, that'd be a very good one.
Okay, so we've got this thing that's subjective, and then you had that first assessment, and was it a surprise when you got 60% back?
Yes, because for me at that time that was actually a very good mark.
Okay, so when we go back into context, Year 11 was even worse then.
Year 11 was very much worse. I got 6 out of 20 for my yearly.
Wow, okay, so if we look at the grand scheme of things, we're talking 6 out of 20 to eventually, a band 5 in advanced English.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty remarkable turnaround for someone that definitely doesn't like English. So then, I think what happened in that assessment, why do you, I know it was an improvement from the Year 11 one, but what got in the way of you not doing well in that first Year 12 assessment?
It was probably a mix between like not wanting to put that much effort into it and not really caring about it, and just not caring about it led to not really understanding it and not wanting to do well, even though I did. Like, you know what I mean? I
get it. So what you're saying is really the motivation wasn't there.
Motivation, that's it, yeah.
So you weren't enjoying it, you hadn't done well in Year 11, it was this painful thing.
Only bad memories of English.
Yeah, it would definitely create a little bit of stress every time. And I think you highlighted a good point there. Because you weren't motivated, you then didn't really understand it. Yeah. And I'm sure that compounded the lack of motivation.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, I don't get this thing, well, this is stupid.
Yeah, there was a lot of frustration involved in doing the assessments. And yeah, whenever I thought I did well, and you're like, oh yes, this is going to be the time I get above 10. It's 8 or whatever.
So then it sounds like a key here was starting to shift your motivation. I mean, because if your motivation didn't shift, you weren't going to understand the text better and then do the work and get better. So how did you start finding the motivation for English? Because I think this is a really common challenge that so many students struggle with.
I think it got to a point where I did one of those ATAR calculator things, and I was like, okay, this is it. I'm going to see how I'm doing at this point. And this is like the start of Year 12 or something. So I was going off my Year 11 yearly marks, which isn't a very good indication at all. But it sort of put into perspective just how much English actually counted to the thing, and like scaling and everything. So I looked at it and I was like, I'm going to have to get above like 75% in order for it to actually do well and count and go up, I guess.
So then the motivation comes from realizing that it's compulsory.
Yeah. And realizing that it accounts for 20%.
And so it's, I guess it sounds like what you realized at that point was the damage it would do if you didn't lift it. Yeah. And so it's like, okay, it's going to do a lot of damage, and even though I'm a maths guy and I'm going to take all this maths, it's like, well, how do I get English up so that it doesn't screw me over when it comes to my ATAR, right? So that I can actually get an ATAR that will give me options. So it sounds like it was that realization for you that's the start of, like, okay, I've got to start doing something a little different. So motivation kicks in a little bit. I'm assuming it varied quite a lot still throughout the year.
This is frustration, I guess. It kind of like snaps like that and you go, I can't do it. And you just got to remind yourself, I have to do it, whether I like it or not.
And so then, so the motivation starts changing. What else do you start doing?
Yeah, I start taking notes and putting effort into notes and doing like practice questions and stuff.
Cool. So there's a bit of work, and so it sounds like one of the things that you also were doing, getting support from an Artist Smart tutor throughout the journey. Yeah. So what were you doing in the tutoring sessions for English?
Analyzing text and writing like practice responses and I don't know, getting feedback on that. And that helps, especially because the feedback at my school, it wasn't like amazing. It was like rushed. I mean, it was good, but you couldn't really understand. It wasn't very specific. And getting feedback from a tutor is much better because it's kind of tailored to your style and they sort of go, all right, you need to do this, this, and this, rather than this is what's wrong. And I think that's a lot more important rather than just pointing out what's wrong with what you're writing, because that just gets me down.
So you've got a feedback loop that's happening in terms of your writing. It sounds like two things are happening there. You're understanding the text a little bit better. Yeah. Because you're reading them. Yeah. Which maybe you were not doing in year 11.
Yeah, I didn't finish one of my texts in year 11. That didn't help.
Okay, so you're reading your text. You're working with your tutor to go down and dig into what it means, understand it a little bit better. It sounds like you said you were trying to build some analysis.
Yeah, writing on like quotes and analysing them and finding like the meaning or whatever, which is kind of hard to understand if it wasn't really explained.
And then you've got some practice that you were saying you were starting to do.
Yeah, practice questions.
Now, I'm assuming you didn't do any in year 11. No, so that was another big change then that you made. Okay, so you started going, all right, I should practice some stuff. Yeah. What did that look like? Were you doing full paragraphs, full essays? Like what level of practice are we discussing here?
At the start of year 12, it was more just like dot pointing essays and like sort of getting the gist of how you'd write them. And sort of going, all right, this is what needs to go in an introduction, body paragraph. It's just the scaffolding. And that did help. It helped more, especially for me because I'm not a fast writer at all. I write really, really slow. So I don't really have the time sort of to put in like, I don't know, like these full-on essays and stuff. So yeah, just dot pointing, it helped me understand like the contents of an essay. And yeah, I didn't really do that in year 11.
And then it sounds like you were saying at the start of year 12 you were doing dot pointing. As you went through year 12, did that change so you were doing more fully fleshed?
Yeah, the full paragraphs and introduction and whatever. I ended up doing a lot of introductions, not so many body paragraphs. I don't know why that was, but I think, I don't know, just probably a bit of procrastination in there.
But I think the thing to highlight is that if you are going to work on something, I know you were creating T tables, which was your analysis and your quotes, which is sort of a paragraph anyway. Yeah. So it sounds like if you were going to spend time writing and you're not, you're more motivated, but if we're being honest, it still wasn't your favorite subject throughout this entire journey. So there's still, it sounds like the amount of work that, you were putting in for English compared to your other subjects probably was a lot less still. Is that fair to say?
At that point, yeah. At the start of the year, maybe like up until the halfway mark.
And then it started...
going up. Yeah.
But it sounds like even then, if you were going to practice one thing, intros and thesis statements are probably a good thing to practice. Yeah. Given that, if you're developing a T table, you can at least pair the two together. So then in the lead up to your trials, what sort of preparation were you doing?
I did maybe 2 practice essays, like timed. And I can't remember which modules they were on, but yeah, so I wrote out maybe 2 full essays and then just again do an introduction. I was memorizing quotes, so I wrote down all my quotes on 1 page, double-sided, which is just ridiculous because I think I had like 40 quotes on there and I was trying to remember them. And I definitely left that to the last minute. I think I was writing them the night before the actual assessment, which did not help at all.
So it sounds like you didn't memorize your essay though. It sounds like what you were doing was
I was not memorizing myself.
Like-
I was memorizing.
the quotes you needed and being familiar with the ideas as well. That's awesome. And so then that's in the lead up to your trials. Did you change things up in the lead up to your HSC?
Definitely. I did not do well in trial. I got 40%, which it's better than 30%. So I'll take that. No, I won't. But yeah, up until I don't know, a few weeks before the HSC, I was like, yeah, okay, I need to start doing stuff. So I was doing more and more timed practice essays. I was writing out my quotes like a couple of weeks in advance. I was doing the tea tables. I was rereading some of the poems and whatever. I was reading Tempest, or bits of it. It was very hard to read. And I was just writing practice, more just like examples of analysis. I think those helped a lot, and just writing up things based on questions that the tutor had given me.
You did mention that you were, struggling to write. Like writing quickly was a really big challenge you had. And again, that's a common thing that a lot of other students struggle with. So what were things that you did to manage it, improve it?
So I think the main thing for me was word choice and I guess syntax. So yeah, in the HSC I only wrote like 2.5 to 3 pages per essay, which is ridiculously small.
So you wrote 2.5 to 3 pages max for each of your essays, and you got a band 5.
Yeah.
So it's awesome to hear that if you're succinct, it can work.
It's still possible. Which I had my doubts because after we came out of the exams and all my friends were like, oh my god, I only wrote 5 pages, and I'm like, come again. But yeah, I think the most important thing for people who write really slowly is just word choice and choosing your quotes quite selectively and being comfortable with your analysis. Because if you stop writing for 20 seconds, for other people, that's like half a paragraph. Like that is a ridiculous amount of time. So you can't just stop writing. You've always got to know what to write. And that I think only developed like back end of my year. Thankfully, all of my assessments apart from trial were at home. So I was very lucky there. But yeah, it did not serve me well in trials. And I only realized that would be a problem after doing trials, which is not a good time to realize that.
What was one of the best things of working with your tutor at Smart for English?
Yeah, I think the best thing was just they really cared about me and like my progress and stuff. And like I said earlier, like teachers, they sort of just go, this is what you're doing wrong, make it better. But here, they like actually go, all right, this is how you do it. This is what's going to work for you. And I don't know, they just really show a sense of caring and commitment, which school teachers, they don't really offer and can't really afford to offer, considering they teach like 300 students. Yeah.
Awesome. And then, do you have any final advice, Kieran, for other students that would describe themselves as maths and science people that are stuck doing English, throughout years 11 and 12? Any tips or advice you could give them to help them get through English successfully?
I think the main thing is don't spend more time on maths and science or whatever than English. Make it about 50-50, or like even if you can't do that, like 60-40 or whatever, make it as equal as possible. Because if you try so hard in one subject or 2 subjects or whatever, it is definitely gonna come back for you in your other subject. And that doesn't go specifically for English as well, it goes for anything. So if you're like struggling in one subject, make sure to put the effort in to get the marks up in that. Because like I said, it's 10 units that count. Most of your subjects are 2 units. It's 20% of your ATAR. It's too much for you to just leave and worry about it later.
So there you have it, guys. Some really practical advice from Kieran on how to navigate English during the HSC. 1, if you hate it and it's just not for you. And 2, if you've screwed up. As we heard from Kieran, he went from the 6 out of 20 in Year 11 to a Band 5 in HSC Advanced English. So it is possible to actually turn things around if you screw up your assessments and if English is not your favourite subject. If you have any comments about how to do it and how to manage that journey yourself, leave them in the comments below, or any questions, I should say. And of course, if there's any way that we can help you, get in touch with us. We've got an incredible team at Art of Smart of teachers, tutors and mentors that can work to support you get through HSC English for years 11 and 12. If you haven't, hit subscribe because we bring videos every week, so we will see you next week.